103.
And now, it's Coast Vue with Ricky Mathews. Brought to you by J. Allen Toyota and AGJ Systems and Networks on SuperTalk 103.1 FM.
Hope you're having a great day, and welcome to Coast Vue, the show that continues to celebrate every single day the people who are making coastal Mississippi such a great place to live, work, and play. I'm really looking forward to today's show. In the first segment, we're going to be having a conversation with Mike Smith, the mayor of Waveland. And in the second half, we're going to be having a conversation with my old friend Dorothy Roberts, who's an entrepreneur, owns a shop, Robin's Nest in Pascrest Jan. And it's been a while since Dorothy and I have visited, and I really look forward to catching up with her. And, every opportunity I get, I want to spend time with the small business owner, because at the end of the day, small business, and we can talk about Ingalls all day long and Stennis and the impact, and boy, the impact is great. Gaming impact is great. But it's at the end of the day, the small business that's the backbone to our economy here in coastal Mississippi. And behind every one of those stores or service providers is a great story of determination and risk taking and passion. And Dorothy's story is certainly that as well. So I look forward to doing that. If you're listening on 103.1, we really appreciate you joining us here on SuperTalk. You may be listening on Facebook or YouTube or your favorite podcast. We appreciate you engaging with Coast Vue and hope you learned something. Kyle and I talk about this all the time, but we learn something new almost every day, and can't tell you how much we enjoy having these conversations. So without any further ado, let me bring my friend Mike Smith into the conversation. He's the mayor of Waveland, the fire chief there. And he was, I think, with the fire department 28 years. And, he came into the mayor position. He was telling me during the break that how much he loves the position. And as you hear him talk, you'll understand the passion he has for that city that he loves so much. Anyway, welcome to Coast Vue. Welcome back to Coast Vue, Mike.
Thank you. I appreciate you really having me on. It's, I love sharing anything to do with Waveland.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that a person could love a city so much, but I truly do. I appreciate that.
I feel that way about coastal Mississippi. Every community in coastal Mississippi, each has its own unique sense of place. Waveland has this special place, not just in a sense of place, but a place in history. And, when you bring them all together, they create this incredible place called coastal Mississippi, and people are flocking here. One of the things you and I have not talked about, and I look forward to just chatting with you about how things are different. But, when you and I first visited, we talked about Waveland in the early days. If you look back in history, things that were written about Waveland, at some point, people actually thought Waveland was part of Louisiana. I mean, Waveland, there's such a connection to New Orleans and that part of Louisiana. Waveland has always had this sort of rich connection there, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I think, at one point, right before Katrina, 40% of our population was made up of New Orleans. And so I kind of feel like Waveland is a suburb, or Hancock County in particular is a suburb of New Orleans, the bigger city. And we love being that because you look around and you have the New Orleans flavor going on here, and it's, so I guess that's one of the things that really attracted me to it.
Well, I don't blame you. I mean, it's a special place. Since the pandemic started, I hear this all around Hancock County in conversations with Tish and others. Had a great visit with Nikki Moon in Bay St. Louis recently, and there's so many wonderful leaders over there I enjoy connecting with. But man, there has been big time interest. Jeff Duncan, who works for NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune, covered the Saints longer than anyone else in history, and he's on the show every Friday. He spends a lot of time in Hancock County. He's been looking for a house in Hancock County. And then Josh Morgan, the top hurricane chaser in the world, chases storms internationally, lived in Bay St. Louis for the second season because of the pandemic, to chase storms from there. And then, of course, he's now thinking about buying there. Boy, you've been hearing some really incredible stories about the real estate market there in your city, haven't you?
It's been phenomenal, quite honestly. We when I first took office a mere 7 years ago as mayor, we had so many properties that were state-owned properties that we talked the state into doing a citywide auction, and it sold 60 some odd properties. But I'll tell you what, if you could find a piece of property in Waveland now, you'd be real lucky. Because, and you're right, the pandemic helped us a lot in that aspect because it brought people from the bigger, more congested cities to Waveland, where you're required to build on a 12,000 square foot lot so that you have plenty of room around you. That's in our zoning ordinance. But yeah, it has really, and I'll tell you this last year, because of the pandemic in particular, our sales tax had been record sales tax every month. So we've been very blessed.
Yes, it has. So you were mentioning that a certain number of houses were worth in excess of $10 million recently built. Tell me more about that.
Well, I get a report every year of the amount of homes that were built or major reconstructions. And so I was counting this morning, there was 32 in the past year. But the valuation of those homes, the construction valuation, was right at $10 million. That's incredible. It truly is. A little out of my league, but I'm glad you're doing it.
Well, I mentioned you heard what I said at the beginning of the show about your passion for what you're doing, and I joked with you a little bit before the show started that having been in the fire department all those years, you learned a lot about how things work. And the other thing that I mentioned to you is that there's just a collection of mayors all across coastal Mississippi today who, have done well in their careers. Some retired, some, very successful business people. And I think almost to a man or woman, they came to their positions because they really they loved their city and they wanted to make a difference. Where does your passion come from? Where is it? I mean, what you were explaining to me was, sometimes still corresponding with some of your constituents as late as midnight. Where does that come from?
I'd have to say the fire department. I mean, when I first started, it was 35 years ago now, but it was interacting with the public, and I, like you, I'm sure, excuse me, you want to just help somebody, and if you can change somebody's day, and whether it's at 2 o'clock in the morning, and the people in my office up here will tell you, well, they know that when they get an email at 2 o'clock in the morning, I got something on my mind, and it's something that I want to do for the quality of life, because quality of life is very important. And so I want people, when they move here, not just have a quiet, serene place to live, but a really nice place to live, and amenities too, so that they can bring their kids, and we have a great school system. So we have a lot of those things, I think, just impassion me to just want to do good every day. And I can't wait to get that, even if it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't sleep very well, but I have a Facebook, which I don't know if it's good or bad. You got the good and the bad in it, but it allows me to reach those constituents at that time in the morning if I need to.
Well, the thing that's not good about social media is that when negativity happens, the way that the artificial intelligence works is that if you're getting a lot of negativity and contributing a lot of negativity, then what will happen is in your Facebook feed, you'll get more negativity and more things and it's, it was a brilliant ad delivery tool, so it could really send you ads that were more interesting to you. But when they decided to use that same tool to determine what your news feed was, that's not a good thing. And, I came from digital media, spent a career, certainly the last part of my career, very focused on major league digital media efforts, and I've gone to school on Facebook and what's wrong. Frankly, I've gone to school on social media and what's wrong and how it's undermining society and whatever. But as a local mayor, though, let me say this. You set what I just said aside for a second, because you have to sort through some of that. The opportunity to be accessible and to be able communicate with your constituents, it's a great tool for being able to do that. There's no doubt about it. And the majority of people who will see your comments and watch your level of engagement, the more engaged you are, the more real you are, the more authentic you are, the more people understand how you think and, what's on your mind about how you might fix this or that, or what your vision for this or that might be. That helps you. And I think you probably see the level of acceptance of your mayorship based on your engagement in social media.
I do. And, people actually stop me and thank me for being accessible like that. And, of course you have those, like you said, I hate to call them keystroke cowboys, but they'll sit behind the screen and incite negativity. But I think that's just our world today.
It is our world today. We're coming to the end of this segment, but our world today is full of people who will say something to you from their keyboard, but they will not say it to your face. And it's a sad reality. We've lost empathy. And not that, some of those people are very empathetic people, but they just when they're in their own room and they have their keyboard in front of them, they can say some things they don't really mean to say or wouldn't say if they were facing someone. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with the mayor of Waveland, Mike Smith.
Sounds good.
It's 2021 and J. Allen Toyota still has a lifetime warranty on all new Toyotas. They all come with Toyota Care. We've got a great rental department. We've got great used cars. We've got a parts and service department ready to help you. So when you think Toyota, think J. Allen Toyota.
If Alexa's part of your life, you've got one more way to access SuperTalk. SuperTalk Mississippi is now available on Amazon Alexa devices. Once enabled, just say, Alexa, play SuperTalk Mississippi at any time and start listening. It's that easy. Just one more way to stay informed and connected with your state. Learn more at supertalk.fm/Alexa. SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi. Now available on Amazon Alexa devices.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking hard-to-find PPE items. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. When your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
Thousands of Bulldog fans have subscribed to the Thunder and Lightning podcast. Have you? On each episode, Brian Haydad and Joel Coleman give you an inside look at your Mississippi State Bulldogs. The Thunder and Lightning podcast is free and available on demand at supertalk.fm and on your smartphone. Just search for Thunder and Lightning on iTunes, Google Play, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Thunder and Lightning from SuperTalk Mississippi, covering the Bulldogs like no one else. SuperTalk Mississippi.
From outer space, visitors from another world. We've had contact with bug-eyed monsters.
This is actually a flying saucer.
Flying saucer?
I'm from another planet.
Where late nights are kind of weird.
Well, they must have a reason for their visits.
The unexplained, the weird, and the downright creepy. Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Late nights. SuperTalk Mississippi. Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen.
Okay.
Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
Hey, guess what? Bob is back, now at 106.3, playing the 80s, 90s, and whatever.
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Check us out, the new Bob 106.3.
Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast Vue with Ricky Mathews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. I'm having a wonderful conversation with Mike Smith, the mayor of Waveland. And, one of the things I love about this show is the opportunity to touch base with people, public servants, elected officials who are just so doggedly committed to their communities. And Mike is one of those guys. You can hear it in his voice. And there's so many things that he's involved with that are all about making the city better. So let's go through some things, Mike. What's the latest on the harbor for Waveland?
Well, we have applied and we have a very good application with the Gulf Coast Restoration Fund. I think it scored a MDA, Mississippi Development Authority, scored it at 27, which the only next highest was Stennis Airport. I'm talking a whole coast wide. So I really feel like that if we could get it funded in the phases, and it's hard to ask for $10 million from anybody. And I don't want to transform our downtown city to a metropolis. Just get something to where we can rebuild back Coleman Avenue. And I think that with the flood, because they're redoing the flood maps, right? So I think with the flood maps, we'll see a reduction in some of the levels that we have to build throughout the city. That's going to be a big help. But the whole thought of the marina was to build back our downtown restoration and or revitalization. And we just haven't seen that, but we do have some things that's in the hopper with a gentleman who's fixing to build some condominiums because of the thought that a marina may come there. So he's looking at building condos. So it's I'm really excited about the short-term future of Coleman Avenue.
Well, I've talked in the past about, and I get your vision completely, this whole notion of sort of a raised boardwalk you could be able to walk from shop to shop. You wouldn't have to walk back down again and then come back up again. And then it ties into the harbor. It's a great vision. But maybe with the new flood maps, it could change the trajectory of how that all looks. And maybe it won't have to be as raised as you initially thought it would have to be.
Yeah, that my hopes is, because right now we're looking at it's 27 feet above ground. But it's high enough where you could have a parking underneath and not have to park on the street or off-site parking. So we're hoping that becomes a reality. But again, going back to maybe I'm thinking this harbor, I've been getting a lot of good compliments on it. I've been hearing some people that live down there may not want it built, but looking at the long-term vitality of the city, I think that we have to do something like that. Yeah,
well, I get there are a lot of people. This is so completely normal. Who there are always going to be people in cities with really good intentions that want the status quo. That's the reality. However, if a city is going to be advancing itself, and that means from an economic development point of view, that means from a tax collection point of view, it has to have a strategic vision for how business is going to take place in that city. What is it you're going to do to attract visitors here? And Waveland, the City of Waves, originally was referred to. Waveland has a terrific waterfront. I mean, just a beautiful area there. Why wouldn't you take advantage of that? Why wouldn't you find a way to bring people there? You see what's happening over in Bay St. Louis. I mean, that resurgence there is breathtaking. Why couldn't the same thing happen in Waveland?
Well, absolutely. And we, to make sure that it wasn't just a pipe dream that I had, we had USM do a study, one of the economic feasibility studies. And the BCA, the benefit cost analysis, is 5 to 1. So it's there is definitely a positive need for it. And look, a lot of the naysayers before Bay St. Louis Harbor was completed, it'll never do good. It'd be a flop. Look, there is a waiting list to get in Bay St. Louis Harbor. So based on that, based on USM. I think it's a great plan. They think it's a great plan. And so we'll start just a small recreational boating harbors, not commercial. So we don't have to worry about that. although we need commercial boating as well. But this is just to transform Coleman Avenue. The lighthouse has been a major hit. Being honest, it was, it's a restroom in the sky, but every day, I don't care if it is raining, if it is freezing, there's somebody at that lighthouse. And so that right there told me everything we need to know, right? So, and if we get a little offshore protection from the Corps of Engineers, which I'm hoping, that will protect all of our beachfront, including the marina, our pier, and our lighthouse, and those things.
Well, after Hurricane Katrina, the Governor's Commission on Recovery, Rebuilding, and Renewal hired Andreas Dwani, the father of New Urbanism. This is the guy who was talking many, many years ago about the importance of creating walkable communities, and too much of America was moving, people were moving out in the world. Now what we're seeing is a major trend now. After all these years of Andreas talking about that, people are coming back downtown. People want to live downtown. They want to live, work, and play downtown. If we don't all get our heads around that, we will lose incredible opportunities. And you see mixed-use developments taking place, happening all across coastal Mississippi. When the architects and planners, over 100 of them, some of them from the Prince of Wales Foundation, came together in the weeks following Hurricane Katrina, and they looked at places like Waveland and Bay St. Louis, and all up and down the coast. All the cities had separate charrettes for each of the cities. They quickly understood that the harbor and how it connects to downtown, a potential harbor and how it would connect to downtown, could really enable you to take advantage of the waterfront in ways you've never been able to do before. And I know that was 16 years ago now. It's hard to believe it, but it was. The reality today is that it's as much a good idea today as it was back then. And sometimes, I go back to Mayor Riley, who I had the opportunity to get to know the mayor of Charleston for so many years and what he did in Charleston after the hurricane there. But sometimes you just have to have a mayor who's got dogged determination. I think Fofo's that kind of mayor. He's got dogged determination. I think Billy's that kind of mayor, dogged determination. You just have to stick with it, and the fact that the committee on the BP restoration funds has scored you so high is a recognition that they believe that it's a good investment, because you're going to spend $1, and what is it going to create? Is it going to create $10? Is it truly transformational? Well, the architects back at the end of Katrina, right after Katrina, believed that it would be transformational. And it's interesting, the committee today scored you so high because they believe it's transformational, and you believe it's transformational. Sometimes you just have to keep swinging. You got to keep your eye on the ball. People are busy. They get moving around too much, and they forget to come back and say, okay, tell me again about Waveland. What's the opportunities in Waveland? But that's what the role of the mayor is all about. I mean, at the end of the day, you're the lead economic development person for that city. You have to accept the fact that sometimes you're going to have to slap someone upside the head and say, hey, wait, get your focus back to us for a second. We're creating something special here. You feel that every day, don't you?
I do. And last year we were not successful on GCRF funds. So, and I found out, and I felt devastated. That was one of those sleepless nights. I sit up and emailed everybody I had an email to. And I've had some really good responses and help from Congressman Plazo's office, Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith's office, Senator Wicker's office. They have been nothing but good help to the city. I emailed our governor, General Spraggins with DMR, who called me the very next day. It was on Good Friday. I didn't expect a call from General Spraggins on Good Friday, but he did. And I have a call Monday with the governor's office, a conference call with them. So they all believe in it too. It's just a matter of making it happen. And, this isn't about Mike Smith. It will never be about me. It's not about the board. It's about the quality of life for our residents.
Yeah, I see that. I see that clearly. By the way, as it relates to Joe Spraggins, here is a guy who could have rode off into the sunset many, many, many years ago, and he keeps sort of reinventing himself in these new positions, making these contributions. I joked with him one day that he must be 90 years old. It seemed like he's been, making a big impact every year. I mean, he was the civil defense director, head of the Harrison County Civil Defense during, Katrina. And, here he is, head of the Department of Marine Resources, and still making his contribution. Wow. Unbelievable. Hey, listen, I wish we had a whole show together, but, if I had to say we achieved our goal, we did, to remind people that Waveland's over there, that it's got a terrific mayor who's very passionate about his city, and we won't wait so long to reconnect with you next time. How about that?
Ricky, that sounds good. I thank y'all so much for having us on. I love to share what's going on in the city. We actually started Monday, paving 62 miles of roads in the city. So, people be patient with us there, but it's always something. We always got something in the pipeline working.
We appreciate you, buddy. Take care. We'll see you.
Thank you so much.
Listen live or on demand and watch episodes of Coast Vue on your laptop, desktop, or on your phone or tablet by going to supertalkmsgulfcoast.com.
Hey, guess what? Bob is back, now at 106.3, playing the 80s, 90s, and whatever.
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Check us out, the new Bob 106.3.
Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen.
Okay.
Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi, and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
Hey, South Mississippi, the future has arrived. It's 2021, and at J. Allen Toyota, we're here to serve you. Want to let you know that we have Allen's lifetime warranty on every new Toyota we sell. That also comes with Toyota Care. That's 2 years and 25,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. We have a great rental department. Our service department's ready to take care of your current vehicle. We're rolling out J. Allen certified pre-owned for 2021. You got to come to I-10 exit 38 right here in Gulfport. You're going to love what we have to offer. When you think Toyota, think Allen Toyota.
Get the scoop on what happened in college football and what to expect in the NFL. Each Sunday on Sports Sunday with Michael Borky. Get the story behind the stats, 8 to 10 a.m. on SuperTalk Mississippi, supertalk.fm, and watch the show on supertalk.tv. SuperTalk Mississippi. We're more than just words. This is where the story of your state is told. Proud to cover the Magnolia State like nobody else. SuperTalk Mississippi.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking very hard-to-find PPE items to make our community a safer place. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. They were even sending thousands of dollars of PPE supplies free to local schools in need with help from other local business leaders. The next time your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider a local company that supports your ball teams, cheerleaders, and area homeless. Consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply, the local guys that keep your prices fair, your service and selection excellent, and your health our business. Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
From outer space, visitors from another world. We've had contact with bug-eyed monsters.
This is actually a flying saucer.
Flying saucer?
I'm from another planet.
Where late nights are kind of weird.
Well, they must have a reason for their visits.
The unexplained, the weird, and the downright creepy. Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Late nights. SuperTalk Mississippi.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. Talking to Paul Thorne, Mississippi true treasure, really incredible recording artist, singer, songwriter, has been doing it a long time, doing it the right way.
It's almost like a Forrest Gump thing because, I was a boxer, / I worked in a furniture factory, / I had a gig 2 nights a week playing my acoustic guitar in a pizza restaurant, / I was in the National Guard, and
Wow.
All this stuff was going on at the same time. / I had a writing contract with Rick Hall and Fame.
In a Mississippi Minute.
Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show. Every day, we're driving the debate in America with the fastest moving, hardest hitting, most comprehensive, fact-based commentary on the radio. We don't hold back. We never shy away from telling you the truth. Our show is a meeting place of ideas. We have the most important guests and the biggest thinkers in America.
Weeknights at 9
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show
on Super Talk Mississippi.
Super Talk Mississippi.
Just seems to me people have so much invested in not telling the truth.
When you want the truth.
Simply because it might hurt some feelings.
And nothing but the truth.
Lose some subscribers.
You want the Gallo Radio Show.
I just think in this audience, you still believe that if you tell the truth, you come out ahead.
The Gallo Radio Show.
And if you tell yourself otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
Mornings on Super Talk Mississippi.
Hey, guess what? Bob is back. Now at 106.3, playing the 80s, 90s, and whatever.
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Check us out. The new Bob 106.3.
And now, it's Coast View with Ricky Mathews. Brought to you by J. Allen Toyota and AGJ Systems and Networks on Super Talk 103.1 FM.
Welcome back to Coast View. I really enjoyed that conversation with Mayor Mike Smith. Waveland's can be out of sight, out of mind, but when you focus on it for a second and start, getting reminded about the enormous potential it has, you see Bay St. Louis exploding. You're seeing the real estate values all over Hancock County go up. And I love having the opportunity to catch up with Mike because he's such a passionate mayor after spending 28 years in the fire department and becoming the chief of fire, and then this opportunity now to be mayor, and he loves it, and you can tell it from the conversations that we're having. As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, one of the things I'm going to be doing during this holiday season, I do it all the time anyway, but we're going to spend a little bit more time doing it during the holiday season, is spending some time with some very special people, entrepreneurs, small business owners who are working in the trenches. As I mentioned at the beginning, you have Ingalls and you have Stennis and gaming, but at the end of the day, at the core of success for our economy is those who are making incredible contributions in the entrepreneurial space, starting their own businesses, providing special services, taking risks, betting the ranch. They all know what that means, and we should do everything we can to bring as much attention to them as we possibly can. So with that said, I want to introduce you to my dear friend, Dorothy Roberts. She has a very special store called Robin's Nest in Pastor's Gin. And I went back and looked, Rob. First of all, Dorothy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ricky. I'm glad to be here. Appreciate being invited back.
I went back and checked, and we started at Coast View on January the 6th, 2020. And now we're almost 2 years into this. And the first few weeks of the show, you were on the show. Mm-hmm. And I went back and listened to that conversation. We had a terrific conversation. We talked about your father as a Tuskegee airman and your mother, Lucy Marion. Good Lord, was she a trailblazer, and she was such a good friend. And your sister Robin, from Good Morning America. Your family has just made such a tremendous influence, such an influence here in coastal Mississippi. But it was a great conversation. I forgot how deep we got in that conversation. I really enjoyed that.
It was really wonderful. And you asked me a question about why Mom's spirit was the way she was. And she really, her childhood it's what formed her. And she just loved being a positive force here on the coast and anywhere she lived.
She was a good friend, and we had a lot of opportunities to talk. But I as I said back to you back in those days when we had that last conversation, and we've obviously not on the air. We've had this conversation many times, but your mother was so faithful and so focused and so inspirational, and she was so at peace with the fact that as she was getting older in age and her health was fading, she was a living example of faith, wasn't she?
She was. She published her book at 88 years of age. She published it in, I think it had the book launch in 2012, and she passed August 30th of 2012. And so I think that's a testament that we can live our life fully up until the moment we are not here, such as with Dad, who woke up in heaven. He lived his life all the way to the very end, as opposed to just settling and not fulfilling yourself, not being a purpose. She had a purposeful life, as did my father, for their entire life, and that's a true blessing.
Yeah, your sister Robin inspires people all over the world. I remember on the second anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, a GMA crew came down with Robin, and they asked me to go fly in a helicopter. So Robin and I are in this helicopter flying over coastal Mississippi and having a conversation about what we're observing as things began to rebuild and whatever. And when I picked her up at the airport, and I think the first interview was over at the Hard Rock, and she told me on the way there that she had been diagnosed with breast cancer and was going to have to go to treatment and whatever. Throughout all of that, she has been such an inspiration. One of the things I came across was when she took one of her medical leaves, she said this, and that's just so powerful. And Ann and I watch her every morning, and you can tell her heart is in every conversation she has. I mean, it never gets old watching how much she cares. Her ability to express empathy, Dorothy, is unbelievable. She said this: life provides losses and heartbreak for us all, but the greatest tragedy is to have the experience and miss the meaning. And then she pledged that she would not miss the meaning of her situation, that she had been given gifts, and that she will carry those gifts through the difficult times and make sure she doesn't miss the meaning. But she's been an inspiration to you and millions, hasn't she?
Right. Well, I'm doing what I'm doing a lot because of her. As you well know, I had a career as a social worker for 28 years. And when Robin became so ill and Mom passed, you take stock in your life. And at least I did. And I've always enjoyed making things. It's just a part of my being. And I thought, well, maybe my next chapter, from what Mother had shown us, that, we have seasons in life, and Mom went through all of her seasons. And so I said, God, if I have another season, which I think I'm kind of late fall, maybe early winter right now, I decided that I think it would be nice to have a gift shop. I named it in Robin's Nest in the Past because Robin is an inspiration. People love following her. This is her hometown. She loved living here. My parents loved living here. So it just was a natural kind of combination to call it Robin's Nest in the Past.
Yeah, before we flip the chapter real quick, this is something I shared with the last time we were together, but Robin once asked your mother, has the current situation challenged her faith? That she was ill, becoming more ill. And your mother said, no, that her faith was stronger. She said that when you are still, there is a realization that you're never alone. And even though you are in the winter of your life, spring follows winter.
That's right.
She was a special lady, wasn't she?
She was, and she is in my heart. She is here in the store every day. There's a picture of Mom and Dad right there on the counter. I have a picture of her in my office right as I sit down on my computer. She's in my head, as is my father. My father's messages to me, however, are one thing at a time, daughter. My mother's messages are, fly, sweetheart, just fly.
Go do it all. Do it all.
Do it. Just take your time. Have your faith. And, sometimes when it's slow in the store, I will just take a second and I go, I know people will come in. I know I never sense that we're not going to be able to make payroll. We're not going to be able to do the things that you want to do as a store owner. I have a beautiful building. People comment on it, and I just feel so blessed to have the support of our local folks, as well as all the folks who come in from all over. We have people from Minnesota, Michigan, you get all the snowbirds. We get people internationally as well. And so I feel a sense of being just incredibly blessed. And I love doing what I'm doing, which is good, because this was a whole new venture for me, as you well know. I just stepped out on faith, as I'm stepping out on faith in something right next door that I know we'll talk about in a few minutes. So
yeah, we're going to do that. Hey, one last thing. I bet your mother is enjoying her role as a guardian angel.
Oh, that's great. I think she is as well. She's here. She would be sitting right there at the front door greeting everyone if she were here. And but she is doing that in spirit for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back a little bit. So the pandemic hits. You probably wonder, what in the world? How in the world am I going to get through this? But
Right.
you adapt, didn't you?
Yes, all store owners, you have to learn to be flexible. And what we did, we picked up on curbside delivery. We increased our social media presence, which, Facebook is just wonderful for us, as well as Instagram. But I do more Facebook than I do Instagram. Our online sales also increased, which we were grateful for that. And then slowly people started coming back in, and we're doing better than obviously last year. We're not quite back to the pre-pandemic numbers, but we're getting close. And so I'm happy about that. And so you just live and learn, and you don't give up. You find a way to persevere. You find a way. And I think that's the people here on the coast. We're a resilient group of people. We go through all these hurricanes. Oh, come on now. we know how to get knocked down and get right back up.
Well, I've said this so many times before, that at the core of coastal Mississippians is a level of resiliency that is unmatched in the United States. And so, again, this whole notion of being able to bounce back, to be able to deal with difficult situations, it's really, in a way, it's kind of our competitive advantage. So when people come here and visit us, it's so interesting, because this is when the politics don't matter at all. People look at the people and see what's in their heart and mind, and they see a person who, when the going gets tough, they care about their neighbors, and that's what coastal Mississippi is all about. And people visit here and they see it. Hey, when we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Dorothy, and it's going to be, I want to hear about the new cafe that you're working on. We'll see you after this break.
Okay.
You can also listen live to SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1 on your Amazon Alexa devices. Once you've enabled the skill, just say, Alexa, open SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast.
Hey, guess what? Bob is back, now at 106.3, playing the 80s, 90s, and whatever.
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Check us out, the new Bob 106.3.
Hey, South Mississippi, it's Jay Allen at Jay Allen Toyota, and I got something new for you for 2021. It's the Jay Allen Certified Collection. What that means is we selected our very best inventory with under 75,000 miles, and they're 6 years old or newer. That comes with a multi-point inspection, a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and a 3-day buyback guarantee. So come check out the Jay Allen Certified Pre-Owned Collection right here, I-10 exit 38 in Gulfport, or on allentoyota.com.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking hard-to-find PPE items. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. When your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
SuperTalk Mississippi, your new home for the Ben Shapiro Show.
We don't hold back. We never shy away from telling you the truth.
The most electrifying national talk show on air today.
We have the most important guests and the biggest thinkers in America.
Ben Shapiro, brutally breaking down the issues of the day.
From politics to pop culture, we take a look at all of it. So don't miss out.
Weeknights at 9.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show.
On SuperTalk Mississippi.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
Just seems to me people have so much invested in not telling the truth.
When you want the truth.
Simply because it might hurt some feelings.
And nothing but the truth.
Lose some subscribers.
You want the Gallo Radio Show.
I just think in this audience, you still believe that if you tell the truth, you come out ahead.
The Gallo Radio Show.
And if you tell yourself otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Thousands of Bulldog fans have subscribed to the Thunder and Lightning podcast. Have you? On each episode, Brian Haydad and Joel Coleman give you an inside look at your Mississippi State Bulldogs. The Thunder and Lightning podcast is free and available on demand at supertalk.fm and on your smartphone. Just search for Thunder and Lightning on iTunes, Google Play, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Thunder and Lightning from SuperTalk Mississippi, covering the Bulldogs like no one else.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. We're talking to Dale Berra. Take me back to growing up and what it was like in the household with a dad like Yogi Berra.
You know, we grew up with his funny sayings. You know, I remember Dad managing the Mets, and me, Larry, and Timmy are watching the game on TV. And all of a sudden, two streakers run out of the stands on TV, and the camera slips away from them. So when he gets home, me, Larry, and Timmy say, "Hey, Dad, those streakers, what were they, boys or girls? We need to know." And Dad looked us right in the eye and said, "I couldn't tell. They had bags over their heads."
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play.
Hey, guess what? Bob is back, now at 106.3, playing the 80s, 90s, and whatever.
I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Check us out, the new Bob 106.3.
Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast Vue with Ricky Mathews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. I have my friend Dorothy Roberts, who is the owner of Robin's Nest in Pass Christian. And I want to talk about your new cafe, but before we do, what I love about your store is you were a social worker for most of your career, and you talked about this new season in your life, you know, me doing a radio show, podcast, and YouTube and Facebook. This is the last thing I expected to be able to do, but maybe your mom would be proud of both of us for finding these new seasons in our life, you know?
I'm sure she is.
But one of the things that I love about your store is that it's, you said that you've always been an artist at heart. You have this wide range of stuff, from pottery to jewelry to glassware, scarves. I mean, how do you decide what you're going to put in your store? And you're always focused on keeping it fresh. So talk to me about that.
Well, I look at things and merchandise, and if it resonates with me in a sense that I think it will be a good fit for the store. And a good fit for the store is we have a lot of inspirational, motivational merchandise. We have a collection called the Power Collection, which Sally Ann and I curate. So I look for things that I think a person would gravitate to. Now, the scarves and all of that, I look to color, I look to comfort, I look to one size fits most. I really am not a dress shop. I don't want to get into having a dressing room and all of that kind of thing. So I've been doing this for 6 years now. So I just take a risk, a chance on some merchandise, but if it looks artsy, if it has a sense of creativity to the design of it, the quality of it, all of those factors go into before I will make an investment. And likewise with our artists, I love supporting consigned artists. Some do better than others. That's very, very honest. And I tell people, we're here together. We're going to work together. I'm going to promote you as best I can. Our number one challenge in a retail setting is the internet. It's Google. It's people will take pictures and then Google things, and if they feel like they can get it at a different price, or they'll even get it directly from the artist. So those are the challenges that I face. But my goal is to always have something, a positive experience for people to come in. We hope it's a positive shopping experience, but we want it to be a positive experience. We greet people when they come. We greet them when they leave, or acknowledge when they're heading out of the store. And it's all about connecting that person with the right merchandise, connecting that person with that perfect piece of the gift that they're trying to find for someone else. Although a lot of people say, I came in looking for Martha, but I'm buying it for me. that happens a lot.
I can imagine it does. And then you made a decision to kind of go toward another vision, and that is to create Robin's Place Cafe. Yes. Tell me about that. Where are you in that process?
Well, we're getting closer. When I bought both of these properties in 2014, so it's been a long time, I knew that little house next door. You just had a sense that a cafe would work nicely. You have to have a destination. You want, Pasquarchan is the smallest town in Harrison County. So when people travel from Gulfport, they feel like they're, going all the way to New Orleans. So you want to have an opportunity for them to have a shopping experience and then a dining experience. I looked at that little house and I immediately said, this is Roberts Place on Davis. My mom and dad loved bringing people together. And so I named it in honor of them. They have their own rooms in this little cafe. I have a room for mom and a room for dad, and then a common area, which will support and reflect Pasquarchan, the history of Pasquarchan in those two areas. So I put it on the back burner because I opened up Robin's Nest. Then I got married. And then, we're in a flood zone. So you have all these things to consider. I had no idea also all the things you consider with a cafe. Which is really a restaurant, but I don't like to say that because it makes me more anxious. But we're getting close. We hope that we will have our food service permit sometime this month in December and be able to open the doors to some light lunch or breakfast or lunch or snacks sometime this month at least. And then we'll expand upon that as time evolves.
By the way, Robin's Nest is the name of the store, and Roberts Place Cafe. You said it correctly. I said Robin's Place. It says Roberts Place. But what a it's like a mini museum to your parents. What a cool thing.
Yes, and that's what we were hoping for, and I think that we'll. Mom and Dad had all this memorabilia that I think will inspire people. This isn't about boasting. This is about uplifting other people. Mom and Dad came from meager beginnings and loved living here in Pasquarchan, Mississippi. And I want to share their story of their life through our little restaurant, our little cafe.
Yeah, your little cafe. Don't make yourself anxious. Listen, we're out of time, but Dorothy, it's been a pleasure to catch up with you. Good luck with your cafe, and I hope you have a great holiday season at the store.
Same to you, Ricky, and your family. Take care.
You bet. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right.
Follow SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1 on Facebook. Facebook.com/SuperTalk MS Coast 103.1.
Hey,